there, everybody. Welcome back to another video. Today is different. I was thinking about different things to do on this channel, and music always comes first. I'm not a crazy movie watcher. I'm not even gonna pretend like I am, but I do like some movies, and I do feel that movies provide a great source of inspiration. They provide a great source of just like being, all that stuff from childhood to growing up. It's a very beautiful, creative source. And so I wanted to start incorporating a few videos, extra videos, I guess, here throughout the week for you guys that focus on movie character roles as well as going through a deep dive of different movie characters. And so today I wanted to start off with one of my favorites from childhood growing up, and that is Miss Ariel from The Little Mermaid. These will be episodes that I'll be debuting on Fridays, depending. It won't be an every Friday sort of thing, but it'll be an episode that I will be debuting on Fridays. Just, you know, as a weekend party look, as a weekend grab your popcorn, watch this movie and recreate this look sort of thing. So hopefully you guys enjoy them. We'll see. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this look. We're gonna do Miss Ariel from The Little Mermaid, talk a little bit about her backstory, how the movie was created, and yeah. If you're curious to what products I do use, I will be listing all of those products down below. I will also be listing down below a few different pieces that you could purchase separate that I haven't purchased yet, but that I've seen from credible sources to recreate this look to its entirety. So if you want the cute little bra, if you want a nice little, you know, fin thing going on for the Halloween season or for just whatever, all of that is also going to be listed down below for you guys as well, so you can create this entire look just for, you know, every day. And without further ado, let's get started with this. If you guys see my wig popping off, look, I'm not a wig connoisseur. I like wigs, but I don't know too much about them. So we're gonna do our best to keep it on, you know what I'm saying? I got the glue on, but anyway, so The Little Mermaid was actually one of their earlier projects with Disney. It was planned as a feature film that was going to be developed after Snow White was created in the 1930s, but it got shelved pretty soon after that and wasn't touched for a long time after that. It was a film that was originally created by a guy by the name of Hans Christian Andersen, like I said, back in the 30s, and it wasn't really revisited till the 80s. It was revisited by a guy by the name of Ron Clemens, and in 1985 he kind of got some interest in creating the film after going around in the bookstore and finding the original rendition of it. Just chilling in the bookstore basically. Ron Clemens was pretty big as well within the Disney community, as he was actually the director of The Great Mouse Detective. What you'll find in the story that we'll be kind of talking about today is that a lot of these people really worked on all of these projects together, and they worked to just, you know, create these amazing masterpieces. I tried to save you guys some of the back headache and the names and all that stuff, because there was really a lot of names that were within this. So I kind of tried to minimize it as much as I can with just like the main stuff. So as I was saying, he was one of the directors for The Great Mouse Detective, along with a guy by the name of John Musker. And he kind of found, you know, the story and developed an interest in it. He went on to write a 2-page treatment for the film and decided to present it to the Walt Disney Studios chief executive, and his name was Jeffrey Katzenberg, at a gong show, kind of suggesting it in a meeting. Katzenberg originally actually passed on this idea and was like, yeah, I'm not really digging it. I don't really want to do this film, because they were working on another project called Splash that was also a mermaid rendition sort of film, and they didn't want it to kind of be confusing for the audience. So he basically was just like, yeah, it's a pass from me. We're not going to work on this. The next day, however, he actually passed it and was like, you know what, we're going to do this, and we're also going to create Oliver and Company. listening to this, I just was like, I don't know, doing my research on this entire process, I mean, it's just like they had hit after hit after hit after hit happening. I mean, it was crazy. While they were in production, they accidentally stumbled across the original visual development and story that was made by Kay Nielsen. And that was back in the 30s that they had made that. So here we are 50 years later and they come across this original rendition. And as they were writing it, they were realizing that a lot of the original ideas that were proposed back in the 30s were still holding true to their script that they were writing. So I thought that was kind of a funny thing, that they kind of had similar visions from 50 years back to the new people who came in 50 years later. That same year that they were working on it in the 80s, they ended up coming up with a 20-page script while they were working on it, so they were definitely grinding it out. The film ended up becoming shelved once more in the 80s as they were working on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So they were like, yeah, we're just gonna wait on this. We got another production that we're working on. That's what we're gonna do now. So they shelved it for a little bit, and then in 1987, they came back to it, working on it with a songwriter by the name of Howard Ashman, and he became involved in the writing and the development of The Little Mermaid. And he also contributed to Oliver and Company. So I feel like a lot of the team members were kind of the same for both productions and just working it to the best of their ability, you know, doing 2 films at once. Howard was also involved in the process of changing the crab, who was Sebastian, from a minor character who was going by the name of Clarence, who was going to be an English butler, to Sebastian, and to make him a main character and to make him a Jamaican crab. And from there they kind of changed the musical styles to kind of fit within that. As we know, Sebastian was a massive hit for everybody. Everybody loved Sebastian. I love Sebastian. I would not change Sebastian. He was great. I don't know. I could just keep going. So in that same time frame, they all worked towards changing up the style of the film from just like a regular film to like a Broadway styled film. That was something that Kassenberg, Clemens, and Musker and Ashman all did. It was honestly probably one of their best decisions that they made, and it was definitely a turning point for film that was made at that time. In that time, it was said that The Little Mermaid was actually one of the most expensive films to make at the time. They dedicated the most amount of money to this film than they had in any other Disney film. In this time frame, they had their main production company out here in Glendale, California, and in that same time they opened a second one that was in Florida. So this was a big time for Disney as they were making all of these changes, big productions, I mean just smash hits after smash hits. They were really growing at this time. And this part I found kind of interesting, the way that I guess the thought process kind of went when it came to the animation. They said that for Ariel, her primary animation, I guess, inspo came from Alyssa Milano in the movie Who is the Boss? When it came to Ariel's swimming and the way that her hair kind of moved, the inspo came from Sally Ride. Whenever she was in a space, that's kind of how they got the idea for the hair and how it would move. And then when it came to how Ariel was swimming, they took inspo from Stoner and the way that there was like movement in the pool. The design for Ursula actually came from a performer by the name of Divine. Divine was a famous drag queen at the time. The Little Mermaid also went on to be the last film to be in the hand-painted cell form animation. So that is pretty big. And then a lot of people with this film went on to kind of consider it to be the first film to kind of bring Broadway and, you know, people who loved Broadway into a cartoon animation form. As you probably know, so many films after this film kind of adapted that idea and that method. So this was the pivotal film for that. Alan Menken and Howard were the top 2 people who worked on the scoring of the film. And Part of Your World is, one of the biggest songs, of the film itself. And believe it or not, it was actually almost cut from the film because they showed it to some kids and the kids did not really vibe with it. So they were just kind of like, these kids don't really like this song, so maybe we should just like not have it in the film anymore. And there was a lot of back and forth that kind of went with that process. And then figuring out like, do we want to, do we not want to, do we want to? As you probably can already tell, they went ahead and kept the song Part of Your World, and it ended up being a huge success and kids eventually kind of caught on to it. Personally, I think listening to it as an adult, it's quite a great song, I don't know. Ask them my questions and get some answers. This is where I'm gonna be honest. I'm having a hard time figuring out where to go from here. Got my eyebrows done. Now it's the eyes' turn. But when I think about the eyes, I think it would be really pretty to add a little bit of purple and kind of give it a certain vibe. But then on the flip side, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, do I really want to add purple? Because thinking about it, it's not what she looks like. So I think I'm just gonna go with a subdued look and then add a little bit of chunky glitter to my cheeks to kind of give it a more fish out of water, sort of vibe. But this is definitely hard to figure out. I'm just telling you, because there's a lot of ways that we could be a mermaid today. Anyways, the film went on to be released in November 1989 and then was also released in 1997. I don't really understand why that happened. I didn't really look too much into it, but basically they had 2 releases for this film. During the 1989 release, the movie ended up making $84.4 million in the box office, which was actually a lot less than what, the producers and everybody kind of expected. They really thought that it was going to make more money. To my surprise as well, it actually made 64% less than Oliver and Company, which again was surprising. When I think about movies, I think Little Mermaid first, and then I think of Oliver and Company. But in that time, it was the opposite around, which Oliver and Company is great. I loved that movie. It was then reissued, like I said, in 1997, and it reissued on the same day as Anastasia, and it actually grossed $27 million more through the re-release. And then worldwide, it got $123 million box office. So it definitely did a pretty good job when it comes to sales. Maybe not as much as they anticipated in the 80s, but it definitely made its mark. So in total, both nationwide, worldwide, all of that, it made about $223 million in the box office. And then in 1990, in a very rare instance, they actually sold the movie in their like limited edition sort of release on VHS, and it was very not typical for a film like this, but they did it, and they sold about 10 million copies of it, with 7 million of those being within the first month of it being released. So I thought that was kind of like, what? They were racking in the sales, man. They really were racking in sales and momentum and vibes with this movie, and just kind of like altogether just breaking a lot of the rules and, the barriers. It was one of the last films that was released that was hand painted, and then you think about sales and how they put it on sale on VHS. It's definitely one of those movies that just was kind of breaking a few expectations, in different ways, I guess. Rotten Tomatoes went on to give it a grand 93%. on their platform, saying that it was a pretty good film because 93% on Rotten Tomatoes means it was pretty good. Variety magazine praised the film, basically saying that like Ursula was like so great, she was amazing, and they just loved her use and her role in the film. And then when we go on to the accolades and stuff that the film got, it got a bunch. It really got a bunch of, you know, credits and credentials and all that stuff. It got 3 Academy Award nominations, making it the first film for Disney since The Rescuers, which was released in 1977, to receive any sort of nomination. It went on to win 2 of those, winning Best Original Score and Best Original Song. It also got 4 Golden Globe nominations and went on to win Best Original Song and Best Original Score for Under the Sea. The soundtrack also won 2 Grammy Awards, one being for Best Album for Children, and then also got for Under the Sea the Best Original Song. When it comes to the Academy Awards, one of the songs that also was nominated was Kiss the Girl, but it lost to Under the Sea. So as you can see, it did pretty good. It did pretty good overall. You know, it won a lot of these awards. It did a lot of, you know, numbers in the box office, did really well when it comes to that. All in all, the film was a major success and went on to go and do like live action, musicals, all that sort of stuff, and now is actually in the process of being made into a full-on live action, people, you know, sort of vibe. Not sure when it's going to come out, but I know it's coming out soon, so that should be exciting and something to look forward to as well. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty simple look if you are going for the more natural vibe. You can add more glitter as you might want. I added a little bit at the very end of my look in a color that I can't find right now. There you go. In this like Lizzie Mcguire gel sort of color. It kind of acts as like a blush almost, and then gives you a little bit of shimmer. But yeah, this look is pretty simple. All you need is a cute little bralette to go with it, along with, you know, your little fin, and you're basically ready. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was pretty easy for you guys to follow. It was a lot of information, and believe me, there was a lot more that I actually had to leave out because it was just a lot of names, all that sort of stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope to see you guys recreating this look that we created today. Please, please, please tag me in any looks that you guys might recreate. And again, like I said, every product that I use is going to be listed down below. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments. Who should I do next as well? Let me know in the comments. I want to know because there are a lot of movies that I want to recreate as well, and a lot of music videos that I want to recreate as well. So thank you guys so much again for watching, and we'll see you guys here in the next video. See ya!